Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, the installation of the PSGF has begun. Welcome into the PSGF, everyone. This is the time of year where a lot of things can really get you behind in bonsai, right? It's fall, we're leading into winter, we got to store the trees. I've got a greenhouse now, I've got cold frames, I've got the plant room. How do we keep it all straight? Well, one of the things I've done this year is to slowly but surely move trees. So I moved all the tropicals in here a couple weeks back, and everything outside is still just fine. Although I brought some Japanese black pines in here now because we're going to get below freezing a couple times in the next week or so. And so I want to protect those trees. But in order for some of my trees that I want to protect in here, I have to slowly move some of the trees in here. So I've been moving the tropicals slowly but surely down into the plant room, and I think I'm about 2/3 of the way there. Although I say that, and I have a whole bunch of Portulacaria afras in these little starter pots, and I just have to squeeze all them in eventually downstairs. But today, I want to actually start working on the PSGF in regards to insulation. So see, what has to happen is I have two top windows that I'm going to cover up with some of the pink stuff, the foam. Yeah, so we're going to cut these to shape, and we're going to put some pink stuff up there to block the windows. And then once I have this cut to shape, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wrap that with some black cloth. So I have some recycled black material that I'm going to go ahead and wrap around the pink insulation foam stuff, and we're going to put those up in the windows up top so we can go ahead and have less heat loss in the wintertime. One of the things after talking with the engineers of my passive solar green frame is I built this with too many windows. And when I said that recently to my Minnesota Bonsai Society Club, they said, yeah, they weren't too surprised. I've got too many windows. The knee wall down below shouldn't have had any windows down there at all. I just needed the windows on the main part of the PSGF, and that would be just fine. And even those are probably too big. And what happens when you have too many windows? You have too much heat loss on those cold nights. The thermal mass of the cement here with the pillars and the rocks on the floor and the rocks that are down below where all the air goes through these tubes and the ductwork goes down and circulates, that creates thermal mass. But of course at night we lose heat drastically through windows. So we're going to cover those up. I need some rock climbing structures up here, some of the rock climbing rocks that you put on a rock climbing wall to get up high in my PSGF. So I have the pink stuff, and I've got to measure it to size. How long do I want these bad boys to be? And so I'm going to go right about there. I'm going to measure it to about there. I got a line here. That looks like it was a correct measurement. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut that out. And we have a piece that fits up there perfectly right now. If I put cloth around that, it's going to even be tighter, a nice snug fit. That's going to be really good. So very rudimentary. I just have it so I could wrap it around once or twice, and I'm going to stuff it back up there, and just the expansion of the material and this pink stuff is going to help. Now, one of the problems with the pink stuff is that through the windows in the heat of the shoulder seasons particularly, but after a winter of really hot greenhouse effect, right? The sun is out in all its glory, it warms this place up, and that pink stuff starts to bow and kind of shrink a little bit and loses its shape. I'm going to have it covered in this. It still might lose its shape, but I'm going to put in this black material. Of course, that's going to gather a lot more heat, but hopefully for some thermal mass. Of course, material is not going to hold any thermal mass, but it's going to make it warm in here that day, right? And so I'm just going to go ahead and put this up there and see if it fits. And if we have to make it a little bit thinner, we'll cut it and do that. So we have this wrapped around real nice. Let's see if we can just shove this back up here where it was. You know what? It's in there enough where it's just going to keep up there. So I like that. It's darker up here, a little bit less light now, but that's going to stay there all winter long and make for a nice little insulation where the air is not going to be able to escape out these top windows up here. So let's go do the other side. I, of course, could make these fit a little bit more true and then like tape them all on there. You know, I could sew something on here. I could do all kinds of things, but I am comfortable with just making this work with a couple of folds, And again, up there, up on the window up there, it's just going to stuff itself in there and be just fine. Okay, so we got it wrapped around. Now we got to go climb this side. Now this one I didn't measure out. I assumed it was the same side as the other side. I hope that assumption doesn't come and bite me in the you-know-what. I also got that on here, which is the automatic close and open system. Let's see what we got here. A little bit smaller. We're gonna have to cut it a little bit smaller. This piece fit now after cutting it down a little bit smaller. I was able to put it up there. There's a few gaps in there. I could put a little extra material in there to kind of keep it all tighter and snug. As a matter of fact, I think I'll do that. We will make that work. Maybe I can even shove a little one of these up here, huh? There we go. That helped there. And we have another one right here. There we go. There we go. All right. So I've got one corner back over here that just looks a little bit full of air. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shove a little bit of this material on that side of it. There we go. All the way over there. Loosen it up down there. There we go. And now we have a place where all that air is trapped. Okay, so the two tops are done for the season. Now next up are the big windows. Now I don't have to close these windows just yet. This will probably be from December 15th until February 15th. For that 2-month period, I will shut down these windows so I only have the top for the sun to warm this place up. Because again, I am trying to keep this as a passive solar green frame, not a greenhouse. So I'm storing some trees in here that I want this to act more like a green frame, a cold frame in the wintertime. So as I mentioned, here is the bowing. You see how much this guy has bowed? Look at that, big old curvature there. That was in one of these windows last winter. So it'll still fit in there, give me a little extra insulation, and then I'll have a piece of wood here that we put this flap up here and this flap over here to hold the wood in, to hold this in. And that's just a little bit more, mass of material. The wood will block all of this wood, and it's just gonna keep this a little bit more insulated. And what it's gonna do also is probably bounce the light away from here because it's pink instead of a dark color. It'll bounce it away than trying to soak it in here. But guess what? I don't have to do that until December 15th. Today is only the 11th of November. So I have a good month where those can be put on the side and we can worry about them later. So what I have to consider now is underneath the knee wall of my PSGF. So we have some extra insulation laying around the garage that we're going to try to fashion to fit around these windows so we don't lose a lot of heat down below. So let's get down there and check it out. This bench was really hard for me to put in a couple of episodes ago, so I don't even want to take it back out. But if I have to, I will. But I can fit a piece of styrofoam back here, and I can fit one back over there, no problem. So first I have to measure this to see what we're going to be measuring our cuts. We've got 34.5 left to right, 34.5 by 31.5. So 31.5 by 34.5. Those windows are the same. So I need 3 sections of 31.5 by 34.5. Let's start cutting. Again, with styrofoam, I can make it a little bit bigger and squeeze it in. I'm not too worried about that. And if I have to, I can even wrap around a little bit of black stuff on this as well. And we'll see if this guy fits here. So 31 by 34. It's wider than it is taller. So I think we have to go in this way. And with my careful measurement, I am about 1/4 of an inch too wide. Only on the bottom. The top fits in there with a nice little snugness. The bottom is a little bit loose. So I can just trim off just ever so slightly of a little bit on the side, and I think we're good to go. Nice snug fit. The sun is going down fast. Sunset is now like at 4:45 in the evening, so we don't have much time to work. So we'll get this last panel in and we'll have to figure out some different lighting situations. But I have two pieces parts here that we'll see if they fit. Oh, they look like they're gonna fit really nice. So that piece is in. Then we're gonna put this side right here. Sits right on top there, real nice. And that's gonna stay right there, especially when I do this. My lights keep going on and off. All right. Okay, we have our bench here now for our trees to go back on. There we go. And for right now, I'm gonna put this right here. I'm gonna hold this up to the window. There we go. There we go. So that's going to prevent a little bit more coldness from seeping out on that back wall. What I also might do for an extra layer of protection is I could put a cloth in there, but I think that'll get wet when I water, so that might be a bad idea. But that pink stuff in there is just making a little bit less ability to seep out. So we've got the left window, the right one's already secured. I did that before I turned the camera on. So I just need to make one more big one over there and this slightly skinnier window, I think, over here. Excuse me. Now I have a couple of these big white panels. Let's see how close they come to fitting. Ooh, close, but not quite. Again, if we piece those together, we might be able to make a square that fits if I tape them all together. So I'm going to bring this to the garage, and we'll work on these two to fill up that back corner one. So let's measure that one and see what we got for height. The sun is setting so fast. I don't know if I got this in time for us to see what I'm doing in here, but this has to go in there. So we have to move this bench out of the way. And this one fell over for the time being. And we're going to put this thing right in here. Here we go. Let's see how good Mr. Dave's measuring was on this one. Oh, we seem to be off. We seem to be off on height. Why am I so off on height, everybody? There are some rocks in there. Oh, it's one of those things where we can force in or we can cut it a little bit smaller. We're off by a little bit, so we're going to cut off just a little bit. Throw this away in my trash can back here. And let us see if that was enough, everybody. Aha. We have a fit. We have a fit. Little snug on that bottom back side, but I wonder if we can make it fit. Oops, just splashed some water on me. There we go. Woohoo! We made it fit. So that goes there. That'll hold that in place until we fix it. There we have it. We have pink stuff on the southeast corner, the south corner, and the east corner. So we only have one more to fix for another day. It is too dark, you probably can't see me very well, so let us stop this for now and we'll pick it up in a flash. It gets dark fast this time of year, but the plant room is a place that I love to head next to get some work done. Lots to do too. There's a lot of trees in here so far, and I start with the bougainvilleas. So the bougainvilleas are from my friend William, who travels to the warmth in the wintertime, so I've been taking care of the bougainvilleas. Got several to clip and take care of. Just a little nipping and tucking with the bougainvilleas to make sure I have plenty of space in the plant room without too much overcrowding. And so we got several to work on. I've got a couple of lower, smaller ones, and the one real tall. I think that's the mother tree of all of those. A lot of cuttings coming from that big tree. And we got them all cleaned up and ready to go for the plant room for another season inside the house over the winter. I also chopped up the 40-year-old ficus. Look at this thing before and after. Yeah, we took a lot out, so that's gonna have a lot of growing to do over the winter months inside here, and then next year I can't wait to see where this one takes off. It's been growing so well. Now I also have another big ficus from a former Minnesota Bonsai Society member. Now he's in Australia now, and so he dumped off a lot of his trees on me to help him sell them to club members and those who might want to buy them. I still have this one left. We got it all nice and trimmed up because that's a big plant, and again it'll take up a little bit less room in the plant room and be all set for some winter growth. Then we'll defoliate it and put it outside in the spring for another great year of growth, and we'll see if we can get rid of that tree. And then I purchased the leftover rusty figs that we used for our workshops this past summer. So the rusty fig, a very interesting tree with some really nice dark, a little bit textured bark, almost kind of like a boxwood, but not quite as textured, but darker in color and very thick, and they look pretty nice already and robust with their thick trunks, but very straight. So a lot of heavy pruning on these, so some big chops to get them set up for some casual growth here in the plant room all winter long. And then in the spring, we'll put them outside for hopefully a really good season of growth. Now, one thing I learned about the rusty figs is they're a tree that also likes a lot of warmth and a lot of light. So we're gonna keep them next to some of the most powerful light in the plant room and warmth, and keep them, of course, good and moist. So a few trees in the plant room with some quick views of me chopping them all up, cleaning them all up so the plant room is in good shape. And I still have more to bring down here. And so we got to make that room for the trees. So until the next one, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll see you on the next one.